Hey, what's up, everybody? I have more silly responses from people that go off on tangents that don't quite understand the words that I'm using to explain something about the psychology and the overarching problems with what veganism is when it puts its hands as a movement, as part of a culture, as part of a society, as part of a cult, as part of if you want to key in on one word and freak out because I call it a cult, just understand what a cult is. I'm explaining this once again because people always come with these hilarious, straw man arguments where they take a piece of what I say and they extract it and tell me that, well, we've got to look back to 1944 when this was started. Well, that's what we'll do. And I'm not talking. I know exactly all about veganism. I've researched it. That's probably why I'm a vegetarian, a fruitarian. That's why I teach about health and well-being. And I'll say it again: if you can't figure out how to be a vegan or vegan-ish, or use those tenets and be healthy at the same time, you're a fucking idiot. That's what I'm saying. The and people and this guy was saying, I assume it's a guy. I don't know. Probably a child. I don't know. That being vegan has nothing to do with health. Yet every page you look at on the internet, every you go to the grocery store, you see all these people making these videos. It's always about the health benefits of the vegan diet. And this person, well, if you look in the textbook definition, what it actually means is no cruelty. I get all that. This is these straw man arguments to pull something that I'm saying just so you can lead into what you want to say. It's silly. But here I have to, once again, vegan, what I'm qualifying it as is everything that the marketing has done for it, the thing it's connected to. It's now connected to health, it's connected to diet. You can't say it's not part of the diet. It is certainly part of the diet. It's the main. Just because it says, because you want to point to and pick out that there is a a definition on the internet that says something about the vegans, what they were doing. But again, it's still an isolated group. It's a grouping mechanism. It's the psychological problem with this. And to bash vegans, I'm bashing all. If it's a bashing at all, which it's really not. I'm just pointing out the problem with isms, veganism, with grouping, with putting things into structured orders and saying this is how it's done, and it puts people in these groups. And part of it, a big part of it, is the diet that's related to what a vegan is. There'd be no reason for vegan to be labeled on everything in a store if it wasn't part of the culture of the vegan people. Just like someone is a Republican, or someone's a Democrat, someone's a vegan, someone's a Christian, these are all things, these are all isms that divide. And they also box things up so people don't have to think for themselves. And I'm not even going to get into like how a lot of the dilemmas in the vegan, like I even made a comment on, I'm probably not even make comments on people's Instagram pages anymore because it's just so pointless. I've always known it to be fruitless. You can't educate somebody on an Instagram post. But they made what was a very ill connection. They said that somebody was talking about milk and how it's undigestible, and this is why people are lactose intolerant. And this is just absolutely, completely untrue. And I said, pasteurization kills all of the enzymes, so you can't digest it, which is true. And I have people from the vegan society, these types of groups. And this other person was saying as well, there's no group. Yes, there is. I'm looking at one right here, and there's plenty of them. There's plenty of miniature vegan movement groups, people part of these societies and cultures and cults. So, and this thing of milk. Do you know there's people that go through the desert and survive off of the camel's milk? Like, do you know how many cultures use the milk of cows and of other creatures in a healthy, sustainable, and and caring way they've been husband to these animals. Now once again, I'm not saying to go do this, because I don't even do it, but I'm not taking away from the cultures where that is done. I'm not saying it's a good idea to go slaughter, farm animals. And I'm not even telling you that, you should even husband animals to kill it anyways. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying the vegan diet is not healthy. And these claims, and you can prove it to yourself when it's always co-opted by things that all of a sudden, now all of a sudden the government's got their hands on it, and all of a sudden the World Health Organization and this and that, right away there's something very wrong with it if they're co-opting it, because they've done nothing but bullshitted and lied about everything about health through the years. Oh yeah, they didn't know 40 years ago, but now all of a sudden it's big and popular. Yeah, it's popular now because it's a money-making scheme. And the money-making scheme goes deeper and deeper if you really got into it and got out of the triggered mindset of being involved in an ism. That anybody that says anything about your ism, you immediately have something against. Even though, funny enough, I am 99% on the side, if there is a side, of what the vegan culture represents. Meaning, do no harm to animals. Yeah, I'm all for that. I'm all for lessening the impact that we have. I'm all for these things. But once again, what they're not noticing, what they're not seeing, and what I'm pointing out is the connection to the inorganic culture. They're moving things towards the inorganic world. This is what must be noticed. This is what must be recognized. That first it was about eating a whole plant food based diet, which I recognize that a good portion of vegans do. But if they're going to do that, stop calling yourself a vegan, because that vegan label is getting thrown around quite a bit these days and attached to things that are just not healthy, that are not whole food or plant based. In fact, they have nothing to do with plant based. They have something to do with made in a laboratory, just not hurting animals. It has to do with inorganics being consumed, salts being consumed. It's so funny, getting in these little I don't even like to get into the comments because it takes too long to have any sort of debate with anybody, because nobody even wants to have a debate. Nobody wants to learn anything. This is a one-way channel. If you don't like what I have to say, get the fuck out of here. Like, go find your vegan brothers and sisters, and go sleep in bed with them and hang out and circle jerk them. Like, have fun with it. But which is just me saying it with tongue-in-cheek humor, because I know vegans, I know meat eaters, I know all sorts, but I don't classify them that way. I find them to be human, just human. And then we can divide down what they stick in their mouth and what they stick in their ears and their diet, their dietary consumption habits. And this is what we're talking about. And this whole thing, I started off of a video that John Rose made that suggested that being a vegan and promoting it, and this is vegan promoters was the language. Vegan promoters, meaning the marketing agencies and people that are promoting veganism, were closer to, what was the word? You're gonna make me look this up. Here we go. Let's just do that. Let's see. That here it is. Oh, they're partaking of divinity. So the suggestion is certainly that if you're not promoting veganism, you're not divine, and that somehow it's of a higher order of intelligence to be vegan. And I'm directly, classifiedly, and absolutely saying it's not. And I'm telling you why. It's of a lower order of intelligence because it involves no thought. It involves joining a club, just the same way you join Christianity or join the Republican Party. Everybody does the thinking for you. This is why you can go find whether it's diet related or just because, go find an automobile that is vegan. See the hilarity of that? And this notebook was made without harming animals. Yeah, that's great. I'm all for that. That's great. But the fact that things can be boxed up and labeled vegan and allows people just to trust in that ism is the dilemma. It makes people dumber. And if you think divine is dumb, then yes, then I agree with it. But I would say divinity, meaning self-knowledge, self-respect, self-thought, considering for yourself. You would look at the package. If you were an intelligent, divine consumer of any product, you would look at that package and you'd read it and you go, huh, I don't know if I want all of these what are all of these things? What do these words even mean? And most of I've looked at so many vegan products and I said, what is this shit in here? I went to a coffee shop the other day. Vegan delights from Nancy's Fancy Bakery. And I look in the back of the package, and instead of just having like 5 ingredients that are all whole plant-based ingredients, it's got all of these words that I don't understand, but I understand them not to have done any harm on animals because it was made in a laboratory or made of salts. Both dead inorganic substances, which is not divine, and it's not righteous, and it's not healthy, and it's not helpful to the population. It's a dumbing down of society. Veganism means a dumbing down of society in every way. Just follow the leader is what they're saying. I'm not saying that parts of it aren't good and healthy and noble, but I'm saying as a whole, the dilemma is that it boxes things up and makes people not think for themselves. So now I have people that want to come and argue with me over what I'm saying because they can't even hear it. Because their brain is so turned into a puddle of mush that they got to go regurgitate something they got off a website about, this is what veganism means. Let's quote this. And when I responded, it was like everything I said was wrong. I'm wrong. See, that's just it. I haven't called anybody wrong. I'm calling people stupid. I'm calling people ignorant. I'm calling people followers. I'm telling you the dilemma with isms. That's what I'm saying. But as always, have a beautiful day, and if you need to be a vegan, have fun. But hopefully you can get outside of that trained automatic response mechanism that's caused inside of your brain by just looking at something and thinking that means good for you or good for the planet or good for animals, and think of the whole thing as a holistic system, and maybe realize for yourself that it's just easy to get on a plant-based diet. Get rid of the whole label. This even goes as far as to say, I believe in a heliocentric model. I believe in realism. I believe in a geocentric model. I don't believe in a heliocentric model, but I don't think I'd call myself a flat earther, because that's a label that somebody else came up with that is just ridiculous. Even saying, geocentric is kind of ridiculous. It just, as far as I can see, what I can tell in my human experience, eating foods that have a seed, that are on a tree, seem good. It seems good. As far as I can tell, as far as I can see, the earth is flat as fuck. But I'm not going to label those things. But people got to label things down. Now, all of a sudden, we got people within the flat earth community that have just so dove into that they've put horse blinders on to the rest of the world, to everything else. And the same thing with this vegan thing. Oh, I'm a vegan. And they identify so heavily with being a vegan that they have so much hate towards people that aren't, that it's disgusting. It's filthy how much hate that comes out of the vegan culture, the vegan movement, whatever, the society. Here, look at it. Oh, we're healthier than you. We're better than you. We don't hurt animals. But we'll tell you what a piece of shit you were, even though these people are probably, a lot of them in their late 20s, and they were probably eating a meat-based diet up until they were 20. All of a sudden, they got a couple years under their belt eating vegetables and probably eating processed food. And most of these people, just like the people that go to these yoga classes, this westernized bullshit ass yoga, they bought their plastic ass mat and they're eating their plastic ass food, putting their fake plastic ass makeup on, and their plastic ass mindsets. And this is the dilemma. This is the problem. And these are the people that like, oh, these are the holy worthy. These are the ones that are really helping everything. It's rubbish. So have fun finding yourself to a plant-based diet. And if you listen to anything else I say, I'm teaching very high levels of wisdom about how to take care of yourself by, drinking your urine. Ooh, that's disgusting. But maybe give that a shot too. And maybe look into eating, foraging off of the land and understanding plant-based diet's the way to go, not vegan diet. Because whether or not you accept that diet is part of the vegan culture, it is most certainly one of the biggest parts of what it is to be claiming veganism, the diet. But Hey, I digress. I'm gonna go have myself a snack and take a nap. Have a beautiful day, y'all.